them a little bit of Ethereum just so they can stake it. But if they just want to watch it too.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. That's a cool caveat to talking about the next guests that we have that want to come on and talk with us. So we've all heard in the chat rooms about this new app that's coming out that's called HEX Business. It's a mobile app. They're launching it on Android first. I don't think it's available on iOS yet. They're getting a lot of different things audited, and they're working on the project still, but I think they're ready to launch part of it. So we wanted to bring them on so that they can talk about their projects so that people in Hex can start understanding it. I did talk to them a little. I don't understand it quite yet, and that's what I'm hoping that we can do here. But they do have an onboarding program. They're talking about being able to onboard people with a mobile app. So it sounds like it's a really cool idea. So I'd like to kind of unpeel the onion. I'm going to pull them up right now. They did ask that they can just not be on video. I'm going to bring them up. So hold on one second here. But we will be able to hear them. So here's Michael and HEXLotto. You guys there, bud?
How you doing, people?
What's up, guys?
Hey,
I'm very curious about this new app.
I see a couple Hexicans in the room.
Oh, there's a few.
Hey, guys. Lotto, are you here also?
Yeah, I'm here, mate.
I know Lotto was having. Oh, you're there. Good. Hey, guys.
It's going.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You're good. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Right on. You're on, man.
Oh, okay. All right.
We're live.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is my first live stream, so bear with me.
Yeah,
so,
just
okay.
It's kind of like a half stream because we're looking at
hey,
we're looking at a black screen.
Right.
Michael, why don't you tell them about mobile
trust
first?
me, it's better for your users that you don't see me. Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah,
what the hell is
why don't you introduce a mobile app
right.
first, and then I'll talk
guys.
about like HEX.business.
Okay.
Okay. Sure,
Michael?
sure.
Let's go. Let's have it, Michael. Go ahead.
So our brand name is hex.business. Okay. And yes. Yeah. Okay. And so we have an ecosystem that started out with a hex.mobile, which was a project that I had been working on since I want to say August of 2019. Okay. So we were really set to launch before Hex launched, and we had some issues with I guess Ethereum wallets don't want you to be able to do EIP67s through a QR code, which I guess they're all trying to be save a bros, and all the 2017 people that got scammed, they basically have flipped that switch off. So you can't really, it was a very hard thing to figure out, to be able to put together a workaround for people to be able to get in to the AA lobby by using a QR code. And so that was the start. We just going through a lot of issues, just trying to get it together, and because it's technically it's very difficult to do. And I'm learning now that when I hear Richard say over the last couple of years that coding is hard, and that's basically what he did. Coding is hard. It's just hard, and it's true. I mean, this is not easy stuff what we're trying to do here. So, so basically, we have an APK that is complete. Literally has just been completed, and there are still some extra things that we want to add to it, but it's a fully functioning integrated wallet, open source, with the ability to scan through a QR code from an Ethereum wallet and immediately enter into the AA lobby through the APK. That APK is also going to be put out as a free version for Android, which we're going to have probably. We've got a privacy policy that is being written right now. It's supposed to be ready today or tomorrow. Once that's completed, then we send that off to Google, and we get listed on Android Play Store. After that, iOS is next. So we figure we should have all three files, so to say, within the next couple of weeks, launched and deployed, or whatever you say. So, and please, guys, understand that I'm a painter. I'm a house painter. I've been a house painter for 25 years, and I'm not a technical guy, but I had an idea. Like, man, I just want to be able to go to the bar. I want to be able to go to the bar and bring my buddies in, and none of them understand any of this. So how can I make it simple for them to just get on? So the QR code idea came in, and it's like, and then so that's our main thing with the app, is just the ease of use for anybody who doesn't have a laptop or a desktop or whatever. There's a lot of people on the planet who only have a mobile, only have a phone, and so we wanted to be able to include them also. And so the APK allows you to get in to the AA lobby by using our QR code. We also plan on bringing in Uniswap QR code on our paid version. Right now, we only have the free version. Paid version is coming soon down the road. It's just, like I said, it's so much work to get this stuff done, but it will be done as soon as possible. We've got guys just toiling away, pushing the buttons. So, but
I've
yeah,
got a quick question
it's
for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah. So first of all, like, props to you for like not giving up, because I remember the original version of it was released a few months ago, and then your developer.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I think he's just lagging a little bit.
Yeah, he's lagging.
Anyway, I remember a few months ago, it almost came to a halt when one of the developers left, and like, so props to you, Michael, for continuing on and apparently finding a new team, because I mean it looks even better than it did originally from what I've seen. And it's awesome that you can, download from the AA, do all that stuff.
Thank you.
Was wondering if you have plans to add like a staking functionality into the wallet itself.
It's already done. It's already there.
No shit. Really?
Yeah, it's already
It's already
inclusive in the APK.
That's amazing. That's incredible. So like,
yep, already done.
This is what's going to take so many steps out of it then. So people don't need to go to some website or whatever. It's all on their phone. Hopefully the paid version can fund you guys for the foreseeable future, because like, I mean, if you guys haven't gotten donations already, by the way, like, go donate, because this is an awesome app. But like, yeah,
we got like 17.2 ETH in donations overall, and we've built a whole ecosystem of dApps for Hex.
Yeah, incredible.
Nice. So go ahead.
Oh, okay. So I had a couple questions for you guys. Are you guys like a contract that's actually built on top of Hex, or are you guys a script, or what is the
second layer? The only script work we've really got is like the airdrops at the moment for the dividends for Hex money, which are paid out in liquid Hex.
And so those can those be put like to whatever you guys want at certain points? I mean,
well, at the minute they're like they go to one wallet, and then we distribute the amount that we've set. So at the minute, the way Hex money is set up, which is another part of hex.business, basically they can the community can vote what percentage they want, because we have a set percent for liquidity and we have a set percent for dividends, which is the incoming Hex, which basically comes in from multiple different dApps. So hex.mobile, any Hex that is earned through that, 10% of the entire revenue stream is basically paid to people who own Hex money and freeze it. So basically 10% of mobile just goes out to all the Hex money freezers. And then basically they can vote in the community how much of that the like liquid dividends they want distributed in either liquidity to go towards Uniswap liquidity pool, or basically they can have a higher percent in like dividends. At a certain point, when we get to 1 million like transforms of Hex money, that will change and it will go to 90%, a set 90% dividend rate, unless the community, before we move over to like a fully on-chain contract, decide to say, well, actually, we'd prefer 20% of that 90% to go towards liquidity. So at the end of the day, it's all community driven. The community are basically making all these decisions themselves, and we are just implementing them into the contract according to how they wish, basically, just trying to give them exactly what they want. So it's like, we're not telling you what you can have, we're letting you decide what you want to have. and just trying to make it flexible, basically, and just trying to give the early investors and the people who believed in it from the start, just trying to give them the freedom to make some choices, basically. And then at the end of the day, hopefully that makes the project more successful.
And how do you vote? How are you able to vote? Is it
in like our Telegram group, we do like polls and everything.
Okay, so it can be can it be manipulated in a certain way, or is it able to get manipulated?
Yeah, we're pretty down with who like our main people are in that chat. So at the end of the day, there's we know who the community is really small at the minute, to be fair, in like Hex Money. So at the end of the day, we've got a good grasp on how that can be done. I mean, the voting system could be better, obviously. At the minute, because we're such a small community and we know who our main like initial investors are and things like that, we can actually we've got a good scope that it's not being completely botted up or anything like that.
Okay. Yeah, there's so a lot of people are talking about the liquidity as well, which I don't really think is that big of a problem. You guys,
it's not at all.
It's like not at all. I understand that, but there has been people on my Telegram definitely that are like,
do you want me to tell you what actually happened with the liquidity? So when we designed like Hex Money, basically first and foremost, Hex Money is not coming out to compete with Hex at all. And the other thing is it's not really meant to be as big a project as Hex either, but it is meant to have the same sort of fundamentals built into it. And what I believe we've designed is like the perfect like incentivized token. This is all Hex Money is meant to be, is an incentivized token that you get loyal users get rewarded from using any of the dApps at like hex.business. So basically what we're trying to achieve with this is just that, anybody who comes and spends Hex at any of our dApps that we've built for their like enjoyment or whatever, or for their like whatever they want to do, whether it's DeFi, whether it's something more gaming, whether it's gaming and DeFi combined together, we just want to give them some incentive. And what we've done is, or I believe what I've designed here is the perfect incentivized token that will do that. And as I say, it's not coming out to compete with Hex. We've got multiple scenarios here how this token can be used, and it will actually assist Hex. And in certain scenarios, it's given out for free. People can mint this token for free when they go through the AA lobby with the mobile. And it's currently, the value of it at the moment is pegged to Hex in one way of minting costs, because you have to spend 1,000 Hex to mint 1 Hex money. Right. So in that respect, it's actually like pegged to the price of Hex. But then you can also transform your Hex for it for 1,000 to 1 as well. So 1,000 Hex will get you 1 Hex money. But the reason we're doing it like this is we have 10,000 times less max supply than Hex. So at the end of the day, we have 60 million. I think the max supply, I know it's variable, but it's 600 billion. Okay. So we have 10,000 times less supply. We have 10 times the amount of interest. So when people freeze Hex money, it earns 36.5% per annum, but it pays you that in Hex money from within the contract. So people say, oh, that's not sustainable. Well, it is sustainable if you're paying it out of your maximum supply. So obviously your maximum supply can run out, but this is the incentive. We want people to be able to earn this as they stake it. And remember, this is an incentivized token. We're not trying to be Hex. We're not trying to outdo it. What we've tried to do is design an incentivized token for people who use our specific ecosystem that we've built on top of Hex. And basically they could hopefully get some upside out of this, and it's like, it could be like another mini opportunity of Hex. So it's like, it's got all the similar sort of fundamentals built into it. And basically, like I say, it is literally just an incentivized token, but it's minted at 1,000 Hex to 1. Liquid dividends are airdropped in Hex. And just for some clarification, as of last night, we paid out over $100,000 in liquid Hex dividends through 5 different airdrops. So we're not messing about here. And that was calculated. The very first airdrop was 10%, and all 4 others have been 15%. So
how do you guys get the dividends? How are you guys like acquiring the Hex? Is it just what?
Right. So basically, from the transforms of Hex money, people can come in and they can basically, whenever they make a deposit of Hex, then 10% of that Hex is distributed to the people who freeze Hex money. So this will be ongoing, and when we hit like 1 million transforms, basically that will turn to 90% dividends, unless the community vote otherwise. So at the minute, when it turns to 90% dividends, there should not be any problem with liquidity, because on top of them 90% dividends that are going out through the transforms, we will also have HEX Mobile, which every single transaction through there, the whole of the entire revenue, 10% of HEX Mobile will go to HEX Money through the holders who freeze HEX Money. So, and then we also have the Lotto, which is about to be launched. And the same thing will happen again. There will be a percentage of Lotto that will go to all HEX Money holders. And HEX Money can be minted through every single one of our dApps just from using HEX. And at the minute, it has got value. It's got like a legit $1 million market cap as we speak. The actual liquid supply, I think, at this precise moment in time, I know there's not a lot of liquidity, but we did have a significant amount of liquidity to start with. And I'll tell you the reason why, what happened with that. But yeah, at the end of the day, we're number 2 on DApp radar within like 7 days for new dApps. So it's like, we are making like, progress and history, to be fair, because at the end of the day, we've done things that no other dApps have done. We haven't even got our white paper out yet. So we're in beta and we don't even have our white paper. So we're actually doing well as far as we can see. And, this isn't a scam. This is exactly what it says on the tin. It's just an incentivized token for our ecosystem. And that's all we want to portray it to people to be. But within that token, it's got built-in pumpermentals. And I mean, I've seen probably 3 other projects that have tried to do this. And the problem all them other projects had is they had zero liquidity and they didn't have a lot of users. So every other token that has tried to model themselves on this, it just failed because they didn't have the volume, they didn't have the users they needed, and it just didn't work. With HEX, we don't have that problem. And I believe this is why this time it's going to be successful. I mean, we're already successful. Today, we've got, let me just have a quick check. There's basically like 125k built up in the contract, and 15% of that is going out for dividends tonight. So before close of AA. So as of tonight, we're going to be probably on, just under 120k dividend payout basically in 6 days. So we're doing well. So you get your interest paid in Hexy when you freeze. You get your liquid dividends paid in HEX, which is a percentage of all the revenue of all the other dApps, which will go on top. So when we hit 90% dividends from transforms, so the 90% dividends comes from transforms when we flip to there. From there, with all the dApps on top, it could literally go in positive, just from what goes in the contract. We had Genesis Whale come and dump, I think it was $250,000 on us yesterday. So that was obviously quite a big highlight. I don't see them just dumping that sort of money on anything. So there's obviously some sort of belief there from a lot of people. They can see what we're trying to do. And yeah, basically that's about it. So this is our token just to basically assist the business, the hex.business, and it will be minted through. We have a contract called HEX Credit that's coming out. People can provide either ETH or HEX. And they will also mint this token. So if you provide ETH, to somebody who wants to give HEX, that will be done at like a 60% LTV rate, kind of similar to like guys what Nexo and that are doing. And then the idea is if someone really believes in HEX, they can go and then compound that HEX and keep coming back, and they can end up with a bigger stack of HEX than what they would have initially. With the ETH people, the HEX goes into a stake, and they basically earn the interest that is made on the HEX for the duration of that loan. So if the loan is, say, 6 months and, HEX keeps continuing to go up, then that interest rate that they've earned on that stake, that's also going to keep continuing to go up. So both sides of the pool can win, basically. And on top of that, by going into this pool, you're also going to mint HEX money, which is actually, making waves at the minute. And we're doing pretty well. So we just want to keep this up. We want to flesh out like our ecosystem. At the minute, we've got HEX Business, we've got the mobile app and APK, we've got HEX Money now that's launched. We've got Lotto that has literally just been audited today, or had the final part of the audit done. We've also got what's the other one we've got? We got like a casino.
Hex.bet.
Yeah, we got hex.bet. That's going to be made in the future. We've got a stable version of hex that can come out, so people can stay 100% staked but gain liquidity at the same time, which can be done through like a bigger pays better style pool. Has to be like a minimum of like 150 million hex in there. But once they do that and they pull together, it doesn't matter where that stable is distributed, because anybody will be able to claim the hex that is in that bigger pays better pool, because they will own the stable. You can't do it to like normal stakes, because there'd be no way of verifying who owns what. But if you utilize the bigger pays better pools, there's so many options what we can do. Even like using hex money in our credit system, basically. So, you know, I've been working flat out on this. I come into it, see what was going on with hex, and I thought, you know what, everyone is calling this thing a scam. Like everybody, any contact I had in like you know, the crypto world was like, stay away from hex. It's a massive scam. And I kept looking into it, and I went and looked up on Richard Hart, and I watched a couple of his videos, and I thought, I like this bloke. Like, I like the way he talks, and I think he's intelligent. And I think I looked into hex, and I thought, he has designed this well, you know. And it's like, I thought everyone is just, I thought, how can everybody be so like against something like this, when, like you were saying earlier, this is what crypto needs. It needs something like this, you know. And at the minute, it's just proving everyone wrong. So you know.
So Lotto, yeah, exactly. You know, that's what we talk about on the show all the time, is trying to bring out the reality of what hex is and what it means means crypto. So let me just, you just spit out a whole mouthful of stuff out there for everybody. And hex,
yeah, he does that.
hex is already very complicating for people. Crypto in general is very complicating for people. And then now you just threw a whole new layer on it for guys like me to try and understand. Now, I'm not saying anything ill about, you know, what it is that you guys are doing, but I do want to try to explain this and try and understand, you know, we're adding another layer of confusion onto this. And I just want to show you some of the questions that are going to come out. So this one says, it seems like a dilution of the hex brand. Now, this is from a hex person. I'm not sure the app needed this complication. Far too confusing for newbies. So now when I talked to Michael earlier, he was talking to me about, you know, making it simple for people to onboard, and you could just simply take your mobile app, and you have your referral link to it, and you have another referral link, maybe some type. I didn't quite understand all that. And then you can also onboard ETH. Explain how you guys are trying to make hex simpler or crypto simpler for people.
So I had this actually put to me in a direct message, or actually it was in a group. I think it was a hex play group. And I said to the person, like, you don't have to use hex money through the app. You know, you don't have to. And he said it's a dilution of a brand. But let me tell you something about this. So basically, they just seem bang against it. So when you go through the Hex Money app, it's pretty simple, you know. You're not going to be bombarded with like something about Hex Money. But all you're going to do if you use the app is mint it. You don't even have to add the token to your MetaMask. So, but the option is there. So it could be that people come through the mobile app not even knowing about Hex Money and use it, and then they could potentially use that mobile app like every day for, I don't know, the next 180 something days, whatever the AA lobby's left for, you know. But they don't have to add Hex Money. You know, we're not forcing this on people. We're not saying you have to buy this token. It's whether you want to or not. It's whether you believe in. It's whether you believe in what we're doing. So when you use that mobile app, you're not being charged anything for it. You're minting it for free. So I don't see there's a massive problem with that. We're not trying to force it down people's throats, you know. We're just saying, look, there's another option here. This is what we have done. We have built an ecosystem on top of Hex to try and give it another, you know, to give it usability, basically, before people, you know, obviously the staking feature is the main feature with Hex. We say that there's, 25% staked at the moment, and roughly 75% is liquidity. So is the staking feature the main thing with Hex, or is it people trading it, you know, or people providing liquidity? So at the end of the day, there's multiple things that you can do with Hex, and it's the same as what you can do with Hex Money. There's just multiple things you can do with it.
So you can stake your Hex in your guys' app. Is that like your stake your Hex in the AA lobby, like the original contract and everything? Okay, that's
it
what
links to it. It just links right to it.
So from the mobile APK, you can do that now. You can stake your Hex from that. So what we tried to do with the mobile APK. So me and Michael, we met. I built an app called HEXLotto. I didn't build it personally. I had a developer build it for me, but I designed it. And what I was trying to do is I see all these stat sites and everything come out, made a couple of comments in the dev chat that I probably shouldn't have about all the stat sites, because I do genuinely respect all the people who build stat sites. What I see is I just see a new stat site coming out every week for Hex. And I was like, this is boring. You know what I mean? We're going to need something more further down the line. So what I decided to do is go down the gaming route. And when I went down that route, I just realized how much like people hated it, and in you know, hexagons anyway, just because they were pretty much against gambling. But what I actually designed was something that wasn't gambling. It was something that could actually earn you something, which you could know whether it was going to earn you something before you even played it. So it's like, you know, I wasn't designing a gambling DApp for people to come and lose all their hex with. That was never like the intention. I was actually innovating and making like a brand new DApp that can only be made with things like Hex because of the way it is designed. So anyway, we had a lot of problems like developing it because the code for what we were trying to do, Solidity, was like not a very good language to try and build that in. We've done multiple revisions, and then basically I designed the ecosystem, put that in front of Richard Hart on a white paper. And then basically we got a little bit of donations. I thought it was all going to end to start with. And then basically we got some donations in and just managed to keep the project going. And one of the other devs for Hex basically said, I've got something that might interest you if you got an appetite for it. And I said, I've got a big appetite, mate. I can put like 100% of my time into this. So he said, like, one of the main developers for mobile was just walked out, and he's basically left the team with like no developers, no coders. Well, the stuff I was working on, we had two like coders working for us, one working on the Lotto, another one working on Lotto stake, and his own one called Hex Pool, which is a hex pool that takes advantage of the bigger pays better. So they get lots of people to make up like 150 million hex, and then everyone gets a higher interest rate. So I was working and like collaborating with both of these devs, and just put this to them about this mobile app, showed it to the dev who was building the HEXLotto stake, and he was like, this is brilliant. He said, we should jump on this. So this is how me and Michael met. We just basically got on this mobile app, and from there, we've got a team of like over 20 people now, including like our outsourced devs. So it's not, this isn't a small project what we're doing. We're having everything audited. We're doing everything we can to like show people what we're doing. We're not creating a scam. We're not creating a one-trick pony where we're going to do one after. We're going to see this through. And like I say, I believe with the ecosystem that's been designed, we can, we're completely transparent. I know I'm not on video, but to be fair, I didn't actually think this was going to be a video stream. So, but I'll probably do a live stream further down the line. I'm not saying I'm completely against it.
And Michael said you're ugly anyway, so.
I'm the ugly one.
I wouldn't say that. But yeah, no, this coronavirus sort of like people ain't being able to look after themselves as much, are they? No haircuts and shit like that at the minute.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, no, like I'm trying to say, we've built this. There's a lot of work by a lot of people gone into this ecosystem, and it's starting to pay off. It's like it's not completely finished, but it is getting there. We have like 5 contracts now that are finished. We've got credit is being tested and then just needs auditing. It's actually complete. The contract's complete. So we're actually getting some community members to actually like bug test it and everything and try it out for us. And then once we've done like the full community testing and everything and beta testing, we can send that off for audit as well. So this ecosystem is growing, and what that means is the dividends for people who buy into like HXY or transform Hex to it. The dividends are going to go up. So hopefully we're doing the right thing, and hopefully this ecosystem is just another use case for Hex, but it's not going to make people lose Hex. So our main aim here is to increase people's positions in Hex. We have like 500,000 extra, or how many is it? 500 million extra Hex coming in the market each day through the AA lobby. So at the end of the day, we have that liquidity there to increase people's position in Hex basically. And through our ecosystem, they can do that. They can do that, and on top of that, they can get like big bonuses like with Hex money as well. At the end of the day, Hex money at the minute is also 10 times undervalued. according to Hex because of the price of Hex. You know.
So what do you guys see this coming after the big payday, or what happens during the big payday? Are people going to be able to get paid out, or what's the
from what? Sorry, from Hex Money or Hex?
From Hex Money. I know what the big payday is, but if you're frozen in your guys's contract, are you gonna?
You don't freeze Hex in our contract. You don't freeze Hex in our contract.
You freeze Hex.
No, you freeze Hex.
Well, you got to convert it or transform it. That's what I meant, like the Hexy. So it won't have anything to do with big payday.
No, nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with big payday in that respect. You know what it might mean is that a hell of a lot more dividends start flowing through the system on big payday because there'd be a hell of a lot more Hex out there. You know. So if everybody starts getting massive chunks of Hex, and what you know that could do something serious to the price of Hex money, because there's going to be so much more Hex in the ecosystem. They're all going to be looking for things to do with it. So you know that it might be that people go and completely stake it again, and the price completely pumps. You know, it could be the opposite to what people think. Nobody actually knows what's going to happen on big payday, do they? A lot of people are like, the first thing I thought when I looked into Hex, I thought of dump, and as things go on, I'm thinking the opposite. So I don't actually know what's going to happen on big payday, and I'm interested to see what's going to happen. Can I explain one more thing with like Hex money and what some of the benefits are of it?
That's what I wanted to. Let me preface that so that you can understand how I think the community wants you to answer that question. So explain to us, on top of what you're saying about the value proposition of Hexy and Hex Business. Explain to us the value proposition to Hex Business that Hex users, people that sign up on your site, what are you guys getting from it? How does it work to the benefit of Hex Business? I know you're talking about a paid app. I mean, I know this isn't out. Look, we're in crypto, we're in business, all of us, and this isn't being done from the bottom of your heart. Tell everybody, what your value proposition to your company is. Yeah.
Okay.
Your project.
Well, so okay, basically from like the offset, with the transforms of HXY, a lot of it is going to the team. We're going to use most of that on development of the ecosystem. So I mean, we had a bit of luck before. I mean, like I say, we only got 17.2 ETH in donations, and we've had a team of 20 people working on this. So if you just actually do the maths on that for a minute, that works out of what's that, $3,000 and something, and we've had a team of 20 people working on this. Like, what is 17.2 ETH in donations? It's nothing. So at the end of the day, from there we were lucky enough to actually catch some of the gains of Hex basically. And another thing is as well, also I actually I paid for developers out of my own personal stack of Hex. I actually used my whole personal stack of Hex that I bought to pay for development of this ecosystem, and actually depleted it just so it could keep going. And then it was at that point is when we asked for donations and said, look, I can't keep going. I've actually used all my own personal Hex. Luckily, we managed to get on the next part of Hex through like an outside person coming in, and then make a load more Hex. And we've got quite a healthy balance at the minute to keep this project going, to add liquidity, to pay the dividends. Obviously, Hex money is paying for all the dividends, but we went into this with probably about 300 ETH, from 17 ETH, which was just went out on development. And then when we had the outside person come in and, we made some ETH and everything, we've actually turned this where it's got its own budget. And the first 1 million token sales, most of that is going to go to development of the ecosystem. Once we hit that 1 million token sales, or token transforms, I should say, not sales. Once we hit that, 90% dividends are going to the people who freeze Hex money. That when you look at that in crypto terms, that is big. We will only have sold like 1 million of a 60 million max supply. So in other words, there will be 90% dividends on the rest of that supply going to the rest of the community, basically, who freeze Hex money. And at the minute, we're saying like it's 10 times undervalued.
And Hex money, from what I understand, is actually on Uniswap or going to be on Uniswap.
It's on Uniswap now. So we added 140 ETH to Uniswap the first day, and what had happened was we were testing the contract, and there's a minting function for we put the minting function on the mobile app. So basically, every time you spend ETH through the mobile app, it converts it to 1,000 hex, and you still mint the same ratio of money according to what 1,000 hex is in ETH. So what had happened is that had gone on to the mobile app where it minted upon deposit, and what it should have done, it should have minted upon exit. So what we got is we had 140 ETH in the liquidity pool, and I just had this premonition because I see someone come into the group and said like 2x Lambo straight away, and I was like, what's this about? So this is in the Telegram group, and I quickly went to the liquidity pool and checked and seen it had dumped like 7 ETH. And I was like, that's not right. Like, you know, there wasn't even hardly any hex money in circulation. So how can it like dump, 7 ETH or whatever just straight away? And what they had done is they had found that they could go and like mint hex money upon deposit of the mobile app, when it should have been mint upon exit of the mobile app. So that is now mint upon exit of the mobile app. But the bloke who done it, he, hats off to him. He kudos to him, because he come back and he said the next day I got this message in my Telegram, and he said, I've just basically took 7 ETH out of your liquidity pool. Like that was me who found it. I said, you should have just come to me and told me, and then because we're in beta, it's still testing phase or whatever. And he actually sent 5 ETH back, and I said, look, keep 2 for finding the bug, because it could have cost us a lot more. But at the end of the day, like, kudos to him, he probably deserves a bigger bonus than that, actually, because he could have kept going with that. But yeah, I mean, I was on it and we caught it, and that was fixed. And yeah, like I say, we've just got this ecosystem now that is like raring to go, basically, and all our dApps, most of them are actually finished. They are literally just going through the audit process. So it's not going to be like 3-4 months to wait for another dApp to come out.
So is that liquidity, that's the Hexy liquidity? You said that like he pulled out Ethereum without even you knowing. Is that going to be in some certain contract that you guys have it in? I mean, are you guys gonna? Is somebody gonna be able, like somebody that's malicious against the contract, maybe, or they just pull out all the liquidity without you knowing? Because that's they
can't pull it in. They'd have to pull it out of Uniswap. So obviously, we went in with our own personal liquidity. It wasn't what the contract earned. But what the thing is, what people need to understand as well, there is nothing stopping anybody providing liquidity for this. Right. So anyone in the community can provide liquidity. A lot of people earn a lot of money providing liquidity on Uniswap. And at the minute, it's like what a lot of the community aren't understanding is there is a golden opportunity to be one of the biggest liquidity providers in a new token. And at the end of the day, when you are the biggest liquidity provider, you get the biggest amount of the shares. So at the end of the day, if somebody wanted to, they could earn, if they got belief in the project, that is, they could earn. I mean, to obviously have that belief, I suppose they have to look at us and have that belief, but we are adding liquidity daily. So we've had a stack building up that we're just going to drop on there when the community really asks for it, because we done a vote on that as well. And we said to the community, shall we add liquidity back? And the community voted no. 96% when we had over 150 members in there, 96% voted no, do not add liquidity because it will harm the project at this early stage. Just for the people who want to come in and make 1.5x or something, that doesn't help a project to start with. So what we're saying is we only need to sell 1 million of these tokens. We are over 20-something% through that in 5 days. So at the end of the day, it looks like it is possible. But when we hit that 90% dividends, liquidity will not be a problem, because it will be there for anybody to provide who owns the token, and then they can choose. Now the thing with Hex Money is, why would you want to sell something that earns 36.5% interest per year? It earns 10 times the amount that Hex does. Obviously in its own value or in its own token, but it is still 10 times the amount, and that is coming out of a finite supply for a finite amount of time. The same as the AA days, they're finite. They're not going to go on forever. We've only got, is it 190 days we're just over, or are we actually under 190 days now?
And will you guys be ever like completely decentralized? Will the gains be the gains be paid out by instead of complete, like without the view? Because I think that a lot of people don't want like a community voting, 100%. Like what their gains are going to be tomorrow.
But if you read the stuff in our community, after 1 million transforms, we will have a fully on-chain contract. There will be no human interaction other than when somebody wants to distribute divs. It will work like a flush function, which is exactly what Hex has got. So this is we are over 20% towards our goal now. You know, we've designed, I believe this token is the best token in crypto right now, right? For dividends and for interest and liquid dividends in HEX. You know, it's got the highest appreciating asset in history that is being paid in liquid dividends. You don't get that with HEX. You know, not that I'm saying that's a problem with HEX. What I'm also saying is when you start compounding these interests, go and stake some at HEX as well. You know, this is what it's for, you know, and go and increase your position in HEX. You know, this is what HEX has been designed for. It's been designed to stake, but, you know, it's also a good asset to hold in liquidity. And at the moment, the overall view of that is true, because 75% of HEX at the moment, or around about, I haven't looked at the figures today, is liquid, you know, because it's only 25% staked. But that hasn't caused a problem for HEX, has it? If anything, it's made the price pump, because the market cap on the circulating supply is bigger, and people see it shooting up through the ranks, you know, which are also being held down, aren't they, by the way, by the likes of CMC, by the likes of CoinGecko or whatever. What are we, 4,000 or something on CoinGecko? We should have been like above 20th position on CMC, shouldn't we, the other day? You know, so I think is it Coin Paprika is the only person, or the only like ranking?
No, they
system?
pulled the big stack of liquidity out of it too.
Yeah.
What Coin Paprika did?
Yeah.
What?
It's hex.live is the only one that shows the actual. If you want to go look at that.
That's
yeah,
new, that's new news to me too. I didn't know that either.
Yeah, they pulled all of the OA's liquidity out of the measurement tool. So now
you guys
they
said that you're 20% done with what you guys want to do. Is there a time frame on when you're going to be completely 100% and 100% decentralized, or is this
5,555 days? That's where we're at.
Do the math. We've just sold 20-something% of a million tokens in 5 or 6 days.
Okay.
We haven't even got our white paper out yet. We're still in beta.
Apparently, you guys released it, and it's not even like the white paper's out. I understand that people want to get those gains and stuff like that, be the first movers. But for people like myself, that I'm looking at it, and
can I just say something? If you're saying about gains, this first lot of the whole of the transfer round is going to cost the same amount. So it's not like it's in tiered stages of transfer round. You're going to be able to get in for the same price from now to the end of that million token sales. So it's not going to go up in tiers and cost more. It's not going to get 10% higher through this transform round. It will cost the same until we get to 90% dividends, basically. Honestly, like I've been in crypto for a long time, right? I'm one of them people who sit back and I watch it, and I've seen the tokenomic side of things as well. And I'll tell you what, there's a lot of good tokens out there, but most of them are based on gambling, and that's where they get their gains from. We've built an ecosystem that isn't based on gambling. You know, our APK goes out is available in China. So if China jump on board and start pushing ETH through the AA, that's going to feed 10% of that revenue straight to these HEX money holders. You know, and that could be the whole of China if they take HEX on board. So, you know, we've got some big things going on here that have been designed into this system. We're not messing about. You know, our team is 20 people. It's been designed well. And, you know, at the end of the day, I'm hoping the community see that. At the minute, I think the community can see that, because we wouldn't have done what we've done so far. But, you know, there's still a way to go. There's another 700 and something thousand tokens got to be sold. But once we hit them figures, you know, the community then get that 90% dividend rate, which would make everything rosy.
All right, so
yeah, there's a lot to digest.
I got a question. You just to start putting it into a little simpler terms.
Cool.
So you said you dropped the white paper on Richard's desk, right?
I did, right. So when I designed the very first ecosystem, I went and bought a list of domains for things that I thought were going to be useful for HEX. I basically designed a whole ecosystem before I launched HEXLotto, and I dropped that white paper in the group, and basically
that was in the dev group, right?
Yeah, that's it. And this ecosystem is what has come out of that.
What now, this is just your opinion, of course. What was the perception that you got from Richard of the project?
He liked the ecosystem. I think he was in two minds about the lotto, but I think he kind of understood the system behind the lotto, where it took it away from the gambling. And he said he had a soft spot for games. So he knew that. I don't think he hates gambling. Obviously, everybody knows that. But I think because he could see the way the lotto had been designed, and the lotto stake, where lotto stake is lossless, by the way. So you don't lose a penny. So if you go in with your HEX, you do not lose any HEX. It's just the winner takes the interest of the stake. So, you know, it's like a collective stake, and then a winner takes away all the interest. But you will get back exactly the same amount of hex as what you put in. So even the fees in that can be taken out of that. So, you know, if people want to call that gambling, that's up to them. But, you know, it's just a game. You're not forcing people to do it, and they still stay intact with their whole amount of hex that they went in with. So, you know, that is 100. Gone.
There's no way to so somebody can't like pull everything, like, because I mean you say that there's no real way that somebody could lose their hex, but I mean the APK could be compromised. I mean, there's multiple avenues, and I'm not saying you guys are doing that. I'm just saying like there's definitely a gamble when you're throwing in you're centralized. It's
what are we centralized on? Sending dividends out. That's it. That's the only thing we're centralized on. Everything else is decentralized.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what your guys' platform is on, right? Though, isn't it?
What do you mean?
No,
the paying out the dividends is like
not just that. No, because there's obviously use cases, isn't there? So, and like I say, we've only got to sell, what is it, 700,000 more tokens, and then we will be completely decentralized. So money, hex money, that will be completely decentralized, literally once we've sold 1 million tokens. So, and it will be fully immutable, and the community will have to do, you know, when dividends are there ready to be paid, someone will have to flip that switch to do it. But it won't be us.
Anybody in the community.
Anybody.
I don't. Where are you guys getting the like? I get where the hexy dividends or the hex money is coming from, but you guys are paying out the hex as a dividend as well. So you're making two. And so how are you guys paying that? If people, is it that what is people? Right, so people come in and then they pay the dividend. Like I know, like there's other games where you have to pay 10% to get in, 10%.
You don't. Listen. Like you're not paying any money for this. You're paying. You're transforming your hex for a token, which is 10x undervalued. There is no 10%, 20% getting it out.
Wait, hold on. A Lotto, 1 second. All right. So what he's saying is that if you get into the APK and transform your Ethereum into the AA lobby, you get free hexy. You get free, right. You know, so it's just an incentive token. You still get all of your hex from the AA lobby, plus you get hexy. So so there is you don't have to pay for anything.
I have no idea. I had no idea what
you don't have I understand. You don't have to buy hexy or swap hex for hexy. You get it for free. Okay. Because you've used a part of our ecosystem. And then when the lending platform comes out, you get free hexy that way too. It's all free hexy as an incentive token to be a part of our ecosystem. It's all if you want to buy some,
go ahead. Sorry.
If you wanted to buy some, if you wanted to swap some, you could go to Uniswap and swap and get some if you wanted to. That's completely up to you. But if you just want to go to free stuff, you want to just,
or you could go to hex.business and use a transform, the transform section on the hex money section at hex.business, and you can get hexy there for 1,000 to 1.
Okay, yeah, that's the only one I didn't. I didn't realize that you could transform it and then you get.
Yeah, that pays dividends.
You get.
So at the end of the day, when you do that, a percentage of that goes to dividends. When we go to 1 million token sales, 90% of that will go to the holders. So every single transform, 90% of it will go to the holders. So it's not like we're trying. You know, there's no like 10% in, 10% out. But then also the money, like I said, from mobile. It's like 10% of the entire revenue generated from mobile is going to hexy holders. You know,
and I'm sure that you guys are you guys getting the like the referral link? Is that how you guys are kind of paying off? Like,
that's the only way. Yes,
that is being distributed to big freeze like hex money.
Yeah, I missed all that. I guess I didn't know if it was skipped over, but that makes way more sense. That way way more sense.
So like there are genuine revenue streams that are going into this, and can keep it sustainable. You know.
Okay.
Yeah. See, my problem is that I need to use these dApps in order to understand them. I've never used them. I've never been involved in any of them, and I know that yours is being framed as being different, but it is built on Hex, and it is an ecosystem. So using it and seeing the value in it is probably something that before I can even speak on it or ask proper questions, I should be using it, to be honest. So. And I don't mind doing that. I think that's what I'm going to start doing is I've got some liquid hex that I'm going to probably go out and use a little on each of these dApps and try and see how they operate and how they function.
The really big features of this ecosystem at the moment, which a lot of people, I've tried to portray it to a lot of people, and it's difficult to explain this stuff simply to people.
Yes.
But at the moment, if you own like Hex Money, say for instance you've bought in, or just let's just say everybody just went in through the transform round, straight away you're going to automatically distribute dividends to all the token freezers basically. But then what you can do is, let's just say you've got some ETH left over and you're going to go through the AA lobby, you're going to mint Hex Money. So at the end of the day, when you mint that Hex Money and go and freeze it, your dividend share is going to go up. So that gives you liquid Hex, which potentially you could send some to stake, you could send another bit back to the transform, and then you could turn a bit back into ETH and go back through that AA lobby the next day. Now there's only like 190 odd days this can happen for. But if you think about it, look, since we've been doing this, there's 25,000 ETH in the AA lobby. So at the end of the day, I'm not saying it's because of this, but people know they can go through these mobile APKs now and mint this Hex Money. So at the end of the day, this is why I'm saying it's been brought out to assist Hex.
And what do you see after the adoption amplifier? I mean, after the adoption amplifier ends, is that you're only able to transform it, right? The hexy to, or hex to hexy.
Yeah.
That'll be the only one.
You can't, but you can still mint it for all the other dApps. So it's always going to be mintable until like the supply is depleted, because obviously there's a 60 million supply there, which, like I say, is 10,000 times less supply than Hex. So straight away, people can see, this is a tokenomics. It's an incentive token. It's got fundamentals built in. It can be minted for free, which at the end of the day, if you can mint something for free that holds a certain value, then why wouldn't you? Why would you go just through the desktop AA without this minting function rather than do it with the minting function if you're getting it for free? Do you see where I'm coming from? It's like, it's not costing you like any more. So, we've also got a desktop version coming out of this. And yeah, like I say, you're gonna stack them dividends up each day. You've got a perfect opportunity. It's a golden opportunity in crypto to compound for 180 days. Opportunities like this don't come around very often, but because of the size of the liquidity out there for Hex and everything else, there is like just a golden opportunity to do this like compounding cycle. But it's a finite cycle. It's not like it's a scam that can go on forever. It's a finite system that can last for, like I say, the maximum of 190 days. But it could actually do wonders for the price of Hex and also the price of Hex Money, because of the amount that people could actually generate from it.
Hey, Lotto, let me. I don't mean to cut you off, but I just wanted to explain to Hexo. So what he's saying is that if you download the APK onto Android and you use our APK to enter your Ethereum into the AA lobby, you get free Hexy plus your Hex from the AA lobby, all in the APK. We have an integrated wallet; it's all there.
And do you have to give your private keys and everything like that to the wallet?
No.
How do you?
Hold on, please let me answer.
Sorry, go ahead, Michael.
So just please just let me finish. Okay, all right. So no worries. All right, listen. So if you have the APK and you put your Ethereum into the AA lobby through the APK, not only does it give you your amount of Hex that you're supposed to get, which is your Hex plus 10%, the 20% is what we're living on, and the Hexy comes out free. So then if you go in the following day, say you transform your Hex that you've received back into Ethereum, go back in the following day, and you get more Hexy. You keep doing this. You just keep rolling over the same Ethereum into the AA lobby through our APK. It will keep minting you free Hex or free Hexy. Do you understand that?
Yeah, I get that.
Do you? Okay.
Okay. All right. So that's only going up in value, and you're only able to do that for the next 180 some days or 190 days. So it really is a golden opportunity for anybody who wants to be able to get a free incentive token that's only going up in value. Listen, we just had, I was telling RG that we had the Genesis whale came in, I believe it was yesterday, and from Ethereum, the Ethereum Genesis whale came in and made a pretty sizable purchase, and he we're literally we were 5 days in, and he showed up, and so he saw that there was something there, because There really is. I mean, you guys really need to check this out, man. I wouldn't say this. I'm saying this to Hexicans as a Hexican. You need to check this out. All right.
Yeah, and Michael's been
Really?
here since day. I remember sitting there, I like doing the memes. I had Michael on my streams back in the day. Back in the day when I would make memes on the stream. So he is an OG. He is an OG Hexagon. If anybody wanted to know that, he's definitely been there since, you know, a year or 2 years.
Day
before.
one.
Yeah,
day one. I believe I was the seventh person. I believe I was the seventh person in the chat. So, yeah, and you know, and I spent 6 months just lurking. You know, it's like I just want to learn it. I just wanted to learn because I didn't come from this. I mean, Bitcoin Hex is my first serious crypto. I mean, I started out. I bought Bitcoin to get into Bitcoin Hex, and I thank Richard. He got me in at 3160 because I listened to his calls and I got in at 3160 and I did just fine. And I was able to put some. I retired as a painter, as a house painter, and I put everything I had into Bitcoin to be able to get into the Hex project, the Bitcoin Hex project. And it's so neat that the community is the ones that built this. I mean, I don't know if you guys recall this or not. Hexo, you might recall, there was an early guy bug right before it was going to go to audit, right before Bitcoin Hex was going to audit. I found the early guy bug, and I mentioned it in chat where you could take your 2% of your interest, because it was going to be divvied out every week, 2% over the course of 50 weeks, 100%. And you could game the system by taking your Hex that you received from the interest and roll it over into the following week. So you could actually, it was a compounding interest bug. You guys, I'm sure you guys remember that bug. You know, that
the guys that got in early got way richer.
Right. So my mention of that, or my finding that and mentioning that, kind of brought on the AA lobby, you know, because I was there from the beginning. I saw it all happen. I saw it unfold, and it was so neat to be a part of a community that actually had a voice. Because Richard listens to us. He listens to what we have to say. I mean, it's as long as you got something intelligent to say, he'll listen to it. You know, that was kind of cool, man. Yeah.
Right on. Well, we appreciate you guys coming on and talking to us about this, because we've been hearing a lot about it. And we wanted to start to, again, unpeel the onion here. And you guys did that. And it just, obviously, for me, it just brought up a lot more questions. So it's things that I'm going to have to go and apply myself to and check this out for myself. I've been getting ready to go
Telegram.
Look at some of the apps.
Telegram.
On Telegram. What do you mean?
I apologize. On Telegram, if you go to @HEX mobile app, you'll come into our channel and come check it out. We'll answer all your questions. Any questions you have that you want answered, we'll answer them all.
And I want to get in there and play with the app. I'm going to get in there myself and
I'm going to try
it's
it out.
It's a good little community, actually. We've got a nice, solid little community in there. So there's some good people. They're all clued up. The Telegram set up pretty well. And it's some good vibes in there as well, you know. And people can see what is being built, you know. At the end of the day, we wouldn't have done what we've just done over the last few days, like without even having a white paper out, if people couldn't see the upsides of what we're doing. And trust me, I spent a long time like designing this so it had an upside. It was hard to design, but it's been designed so there is an upside on all angles, basically. You know, I can't express enough to people who are listening now that there are not many opportunities like this in crypto. You know, like I say, there's a finite amount of days and there's a finite amount of tokens with like Hexy. And it is an incentive token, not to basically compete with Hex, but to come out and assist it.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, it really is. That's our main goal. Our main goal is to increase the position of Hex for all people who hold it. Okay.
All right. Yeah. Well, hey, we'll have to update and get on there and play with a little bit, and then have you guys come back on again so that we maybe can answer some more questions. I'd love to have you guys back on if that's cool.
Cool.
Right on. Well, what do you guys think about?
Maybe I'll be able to get a haircut by then.
So, what do you guys having a halvening party or what?
I'm into mine's about the halvening, to be fair. I think the halvening this year has been pumped up by more like big companies who are advertising, you know.
And it's nobody talked about it before.
I think there's not actually that much effect from it, if I'm truthfully honest. If anything, I think the pump has probably come from like advertising and everything, because everybody hits CMC, which, let's face it, coin market cap is a load of trash at the minute. You know, it's not doing things properly or how it should do, or you know, how a decentralized sort of world would like them to do it. You know, but there is an advert on there for every single company they advertise that basically says, "Oh, the halvening's happening," you know. So how many noobs or how many people, while they're sitting in through this coronavirus, has just bought into Bitcoin because of the halvening?
Well, and about $30 billion of market cap just came in the last month or two.
Exactly. And what's that from? That's probably from the coronavirus. And what's happened? Probably the people who have just gone and took a load of profit on that have just left the other people like not in profit. You know, let's face it. It's like, you know, I'm not saying I think Bitcoin's a good project and I believe in crypto as a whole. You know, and I know Bitcoins are ancient in terms of crypto, but I do like Bitcoin as a project. You know, you know, the things Richard says about Bitcoin are 100%. But you know, I don't think it's going to go anywhere soon. Can Hex overtake it? Potentially. You know what I mean? I think Hex has a lot more opportunity to overtake it than what Ripple did have. You know, I never thought Ripple was going to be number one, but I believe Hex potentially could do that. You know, and it's just like, but all this halvening stuff at the minute, you know, maybe the halvening effects will happen a little while down the line, you know, and we will see these major pumps because of the halvening. But I don't think what we've just seen is because of the halvening. You know, I think what we've just seen is through advertising to people who probably aren't aware enough of what's going on. And that's maybe what's caused the pump. You know, the noobs, every single person is sitting indoors at the moment looking for something to do. So that's going to have had a major effect on, you know, what's a fairly small market cap. You know, the overall market cap of crypto isn't that big, is it? What are we at, 240 billion? You know, it's not that huge, is it? You know, we were nearly at $1 trillion in 2017. So we're 4x less than that at the moment. And like I say, you've got all these noobs bored at the moment, sitting indoors through the coronavirus pandemic. And, you know, I think that's what's happened at the minute. I don't think the actual halvening effects have taken place yet. But, you know, that's just my opinion. You know,
and you've got guys like Tone right now doing Zoom calls with like 14, 15 maxis on one page talking about how awesome this whole thing is.
Oh yeah, this is it, and it's like, you know, exactly that. You know, why is there this maxi like thing? You know, why do you have to have that? You know, at the end of the day, I like Hex. I also, believe it or not, I like a couple of the tokens like Tron. I like the gamey side of Tron. You know, a lot of people call it a shitcoin. I don't care if it's a shitcoin. I actually have some fun with that. You know, I actually have some fun, and believe it or not, people need to have fun. It's not all about like putting something somewhere and leaving it for 5 years. If that's all you're going to get, you're probably not going to get the audience you want. You need to cater for all audiences, and a lot of people do not understand that. You know, okay, you don't want the gambling, you don't want that bad vision where people have come in and lost loads of Hex. You don't want that. You need to keep that out. It's toxic and it's poison and it's not good for Hex. But at the same time, you still need to you still need to have these other use cases so people aren't going to get bored with your token. I don't know if you agree with that or you think I'm rambling, but
you know, I'm of the opinion. Look, I'm not a gambler. I work for a living and I don't promote it and all that. However, cash has Vegas, and there's nothing wrong with Vegas. So I'm of the opinion that these things are part of the ecosystem. Yeah. And if you're gonna bash them or shit talk them or do whatever you want with them, then you know that doesn't help anybody or anything. If it's not for you, don't use the shit. You know. Exactly.
This is it. This is my motto. If you don't like it, don't use it. The same with Hex Money. All these people bashing it. Oh, you're diluting the brand. No, we're not diluting the brand of Hex. We're basically giving you a free option of something. You don't have to use it. We're not ramming it down your throat and saying you've got to do this. But I bet you this. Let's just say that person did go and use the app and they did mint a load of Hex money. What do you think they're going to do in 3 years if the price is pumped? Do you think they're going to throw it away or send it back to the contract and burn it? You know, do you see where I'm coming from? What if they burn it for free? Oh, but you was bashing it 3 years ago, mate. You were saying like, oh, we don't want this. You're diluting Hex. Well, you just got it for nothing. Just like when you refer and get free Hex for nothing, or if you got Bitcoin and you get Hex, it's exactly the same, you know? So it's like, you know, we're just giving people this other option at the end of the day, and we're not ramming it down their throat. We're not saying stick all your life savings into this. In fact, the actual motto of what we're trying to do is Hex Money, where it's only an incentive token. It's like, just stick a bit of your change of Hex into it. That's it. You know, stick a bit of your change. Keep most of your Hex locked up and staked if that's what you want to do, or keep it on Uniswap as liquidity, or trade with it. Whatever you want to do. stick a little couple of percent of your hex into hex money, you know. And at the end of the day, maybe that few percent or whatever that you stick in there, maybe no expectations or whatever, but maybe that will make you something, you know, or maybe it will appreciate because it's got the same similar fundamentals built into what hex has.
Right. You know, I tell you guys, I tell you, the only reason why I've continued on with maybe some of this entertainment stuff that Lotto is putting out is, you know, I got to have something to do waiting for my stakes to mature. You know what? And I want to stay in the hex. I want to, because watching these CDs mature is like watching trees grow.
That's why we're on YouTube, Bubba.
Right on, man.
All right, guys. Well,
all right.
Hey, thanks for coming on. We'll definitely do a follow up on this and get you guys back on. It was been
for sure. And listen, and I listen. I realized that it was really hard for you guys to just sit there and listen, because I mean, you guys basically listened to through the whole thing. Thank you for having patience with us, and we are really here for Hex. All right.
Right.
Thank you,
we
guys.
wanted to just give you guys a platform.
Right on, man.
You guys have a good one.
Cool. Thanks, guys. All right.
All right. Well, there it is, bro.
Yeah, there it is, guys. Make sure to, you know, that's pretty cool. I liked it, but you know, do your own research.
I'm confused.
I don't know about all of it, so I usually I'm gonna have to like go. It's just like Hex. When I first got into Hex, if somebody would have told me how all of it works, I'd be like, I mean, somebody did. Michael actually did. Michael is actually the one that was like, I mean, I knew all about it, but when it first, like, I took a couple months off right before it was released because it was, you know, it wasn't a complete project. Yeah. So I took probably like the 2 months off before it was released. And Michael was the one that was like, no, dude, you got to get this, you know, you're going to want to do this. You're going to want to do this. And he's the one that's actually the one that told me all, you know, all of the nuances and stuff like that. But even then I had no idea, like, because it had transformed in, you know, no pun intended, but it had transformed into a different kind of beast in the only, you know, the 2 months that I was taking a break. And and I didn't really understand it completely. Like, I don't think that you can understand it until you actually get into it. Well, I mean, maybe you could, but I can't.
No, it took me a while to understand all of the nuances of Hex, and I'm still trying to. I mean, I understand Hex and how it works. I don't understand exactly how to kind of gauge what's going to happen, I guess, in the future here.
Well, I don't think anybody does.
Nobody can, but you know, I like to think of myself as somebody who could kind of like see the path forward and see where it's going and see what's happening. But I mean, but as far as this new project here goes, and all the dApps for that matter, I just haven't used them. I haven't put them into use, and that's where I'm going to dedicate myself. You and I have talked about it. I'm going to put a little into all of these and just kind of see how they work and maybe and what they mean. Because I mean, they're you know,
in the minimum amount and see which one's paying out the best. I mean, that's maybe what I'm gonna do. You know, just to try it for everybody else and, you know, show it for everybody else. But I like on my phone, man. Like, it was so getting into the adoption amplifier. I'm pretty sure you have to. How does it get on your ape? I should have asked them that. Because if you're downloading APK, how are you sending Ethereum to an APK and then it's you're getting in the adoption amplifier? Don't you have to have your keys? I should have asked them that.
Well, they do it on Hex Max also, where you can actually enter the lobby. So you really just enter the AA lobby itself, and it's just like, you know, that's your stake.
I get it, but like you have to have it connected to your wallet to get into the adoption amplifier. So that means you have to connect your wallet to the hex.business, and then
I think they have their own wallet, is what it is.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's what it is.
They have their own wallet, is what they were explaining to me earlier. I think when I talked to Michael earlier, he explained that to me. But those are all questions that need to be answered, and you know, we'll
check out their Telegram guys, and you know, maybe if anybody else has used it and wants to message me, go ahead, because there's lots of haters out there for sure about the new project. And, a lot of them seem to be a different
on the other side.
They're on the other games that are like, well, it's nothing like Toucanaire, and it's like, okay, so you're a Toucanaire guy. I get why you might not like it because it's a new project.
So that's what we're seeing, right, bro? I mean, when we're in Telegram, we see the Toucanaire guys fighting against these guys coming out, and so I don't see anything wrong with any of them. at this point. Now, this one here, I'm going to say Hex Business looks like it has a little more use case as far as it being an app for onboarding and for maybe managing your referral code and all that. So I think that there may be a little more of a use case here outside of the games themselves. But they all seem to be built on a pretty solid platform. They're not like the multi-level type of things that I'd seen in the past with other cryptos and other ecosystems. This looks like a functioning ecosystem application that actually has some use. And if you want to play the game, you can play the game. If you don't want to, then it has all these other uses here. So it looks like a good project to me from the outside. I haven't really delved into it yet, which I'm going to. I promised to all these apps that I would use their apps and check them out further. But at this point, I want to just give them all a voice and let them speak their piece and explain it to the community. And then, I'll give my opinion later. My opinion right now is I don't really have an opinion of all of them.
You want to hear my opinion?
I do because
my opinion,
because you've expressed it to me in private.
Yeah, I'm just gonna stay in the main contract. I'm more of a main contract guy. I don't give my I'm not a gambler, and if giving my hex to anybody else, that's a gamble to me. Like, if anything, that's like if, hey, give me that Bitcoin, and I'm not sending it to Elon Musk and any Twitter. But I know that it's a legit thing, and I think that it's awesome for people to build it. Personally, though, most of my stake or my hex is staked, and if I get 5,000 hex, that's that I'm like, why don't I just play? Maybe I'll do that, but I'm not putting any significant amount.
Well, no. I mean,
maybe $50 is like the max that I would try it out with.
Yeah, and
if any of these, just because it's like. Which I understand. Some people want those divs, like they want to get those divs right into their wallet and they get them. But I'm okay with just watching it for a year. Like, I know it is kind of boring, but boring money usually gets you it's pretty sound, and and still with Hex, it's still it's crypto, so anything can happen, obviously. But I'm more of the I like to watch it, I like to watch it grow. I like to watch my interest go up every day. And I'm not a weak hand, so I can be like, yeah, I'm not going to unstake that. I'm not going to emergency unstake it. But yeah, I think that it's awesome that they are making it
for the next, year.
What's that?
This is going to give us something to talk about for the next 100 days.
Very true. Very true.
Other than throwing out the numbers of Hex, which we have our bear markets for a day or so, and then we have our exciting
our 12-hour bear market.
Our 12-hour bear market, and then we have our climbs, and then we have all this stuff and the drama in between to talk about.
Yeah, and and I was like, when hex.business, like I thought they were a little bit different. I thought they were going to be just purely staking. I didn't think that they were gonna, which whatever they want to do, that's all. I think it's awesome that they're building on top. I thought they were going to be an app that locked in your referral, so you get the 10, or they automatically get the 20%, and you get the 10%, and it was just kind of like that. I thought that was going to be the whole thing, which maybe is where they started. I'm not sure, but. Like, now it's built onto something else, and I think that that's awesome that they built onto it. It's just that's I
there seems to be some value in that thing too. So, and it trades on Uniswap. So I mean, it's got legitness, right?
Yeah. Well,
as far as
it's a decentralized exchange. I think you can put anything you want on there.
I do understand that. So with decentralization comes you get that too. So but again, it was just taking a look at it from the outside, it is what it is, and you got all you people out there need to look at these things through your own eyes. View them for yourself, use them for yourself, not use them for yourself. It's up to you.
Like, I'm not in any of the other dApps, and I don't condone. Not that I don't condone them. I'm glad that they're making them, because I think crypto does bring on that type of person that wants to kind of gamble with their stuff. And I mean, look at Bitcoin. That's what they had what was it, poker at first, or was it some kind of, you know, a gambling when Bitcoin first came out.
Yeah, it was
so
part
I think
of
that
it was part of the programming.
and that's how I used to be. I used to want to like gamble that. And I, you know, so the people that want to gamble their money, and I'm not saying Hex Business is the gambling, you know, whatever. I'm just saying that some of those dApps that these people put on are gambling apps, and that's the crowd that crypto has brought in. And so I understand why people would want to bring that to, you know, to the communities and stuff like that. It's you know, it's, and
well,
you're talking about probability.
You're talking about currency. You're talking about money. So you have traders, you have gamers, you have savers. You know, you have all of these different elements, and Hex is crypto, and it's going to have all these, and it is a currency. So it's going to have all these elements, and you know, that's what you have to take a look at all of them. You have to look at all of it. Now, whether you participate in all of these things or not, you know, but then everybody has to realize that crypto gives you a whole nother element of, gosh, how can I say this without sounding like everybody else out there and calling things a scam? But crypto has an element of things you have to take caution when you're using.
I mean, look at all the ICOs. Like it was like there's lots of promises and dreams that are put out to people, and some of them just don't pan out. Not that they were trying to be malicious to anybody. Maybe they really did have a vision and an idea, you know, all these ICOs. But in the end, maybe they just weren't able to complete it. Maybe they realized, you know, oh, we're going to put this on Bitcoin, and realized how hard it is to program on Bitcoin and stuff like that. So I got
to say something about completely. I got to say something about the great ICO run of 2017, 16, 17. I was involved in that, and I got wrecked on. Like all ICOs pretty much out there that were, you know, shadow ICOs back in, you know, the ones that were going to make some awesome divs, you know. And I think that, you know, the crash of 2018 is what wrecked all of that. You know, I think that they just lost the force behind. I mean, they were all moving very fast in 2017.
Like I think that they could have, and then it dumped, and then it's like, well, I got 2 Bitcoin, you know, $40,000 for my project, but now, you know, that $40,000 turned into $3,000, and I got to pay for 3 devs or something like that. It's like, it's maybe we'll just, you know, just take the money and let's go. And that's probably, you know, we don't have to.
Probably a lot of them were exposed as not being real devs either, because there are a lot of people out there that got involved and they really weren't crypto devs, you know. They were programmers that were trying to turn into crypto devs, and
they were just a website with their faces on it.
And then you've got people that were hardcore. I mean, look at how hard. I mean, I don't know programming, and I don't even know how to speak to it, but you know, everybody talks about how hard Solidity is and how hard it is to program on it. And you know, you had all these people out there trying to make all these great, you know, bitchin' cryptocurrencies that were going to, you know, change the world, but did they run into a lot of snags, and a lot of them just, you know, said, you know, fuck it, we can't do this thing. You know, that's what I think happened. A lot of was just a lot of cases of the fuck it's, you know. Can you hear the lawnmower going on out there?
Yeah, I can. I thought it was a plane. Hex 2 says I'm in Hex 2 or Hex 2. Yeah, Hex 2 I guess put me in Hex 2. He gave me some. I've never actually checked it, so I don't know. So if anybody sees that my wallet has Hex 2 in it, I didn't buy it. Somebody gave it to me, I guess. I don't know where it came from. I'll have to check it. Every time Hex 2 says it, I'm like, oh yeah, I do need to check that out just to see what
kick RG3 some down, man. I'll get it. Where's mine?
I don't know who gave that to me.
I'm an advocate for all
I do know who gave it to, but ICOs on Ethereum will be similar to these Hex games on Hex. Overall, not good.
Okay, let me see.
I mean,
ICOs.
That could be the next thing. I mean, who knows? But there are ones that, you know, like Binance was an ICO that it was an actually successful ICO. You know, it's like I totally agree with you, Starcode. But like we just said, if you're in the bull run and you're going up, that's always good. It's the ones it's the ones when you go into a bear market that seem to be the ones that it's like, oh, okay, these ones stick around, and some of them and some of them, like you definitely for sure, bro. I will give you some hexy. Okay, Trip Jammer, I'm up for that. You can give me whatever you guys want to send to my wallet. I'm all right.
Oh man, what about RG3?
For RG3. But yeah, I'm up and willing to like try anything out. I'm just I'm gonna keep my hex staked, and we didn't get paid for this or anything like that. We're not like the ICO thing.
No,
we're
I don't want anybody to think that these guys are paying us. They're not. We're not shilling their shit.
We just want everybody in the hex community.
Hard questions, and we want the hex community to understand what it is, because these things are complicated, man. This is all very, very complicated. Unless you're in it. I mean, if you're in it and you're involved and you're playing with them, it's hard for a guy like me to explain it when I haven't even hit the button yet. So I need to go in there and hit the button just to kind of. Oh, Trip Jammer said you too, RG3.
Oh, there we go. We'll try it out. We'll try them out. It's always good to like try it out and just figure it out for you guys. And I mean, like even with one hexy, which is 1,000 hex, like that's probably what I would put in just to see what it is. And like I don't really even care about the divs. Like if I'm getting divs every day, that means I'm just gonna be staking even more every day, which is meaning I'm gonna be spending more on gas every day to just keep sending it back and forth. So it's like, I'm just gonna
and it's going to be I'm going to put it in perspective with in alignment with how I am. So if I go to Vegas, if me and my wife, we've been to Vegas for events and we've gone through town or whatever, or if I go to one of the casinos out here, Indian casino or something, for dinner with friends or whatever, I don't mind dropping a roll of quarters in a machine.
Scam.
I mean,
they're scams. Don't go to those. They're scams.
But that's it. That's all that's going to happen. I'll play, $20, $30 but that's in perspective with my life. $20 or $30 in a machine on a night going out to dinner with my wife versus
it's a game. It's for fun.
The money that I've put into my savings and my stakings for retirement and and long-term gains and all that. It's in perspective with how my whole life is. I'm a guy that'll put, roll quarters in a machine and that's it. And
I can control myself to not keep going like, oh my God, I'm on a run, boys. I'm on a run. I made $1,000. I'm good. Like, I'm okay with just being like, I'm cashing out now. And my friends, man, when I was in the Marines, I mean, RG3, you probably did this poker. You'd have those poker nights where everybody, dude, I would get in. I would get in and I'd put in $5 and I'd win $200. I think I did this twice. I won like $200. I was like, all right, I'm out. And they were like, no, you got to play until the end. And I'm like, no, I just want $200, man. Like, I ain't playing with you guys anymore. I just want all your guys' money. They're like, no, that's not how we work. We're never going to allow you to play again. And it was just like, I'm okay with cashing out and just being all the way out, So I like being in Hex and watching that interest and watching those stakes. I'm okay with just collecting the interest and staking it again and just living off of that, hopefully for the rest of my life. But if Hexy and Hex money definitely pans out and stuff like that, like I really hope it does, because man, that would be awesome for Hex. And maybe I will be converted somehow. And like, oh wow, this is Hex plus. Oh, I can't say Hex 2. I was gonna say Hex 2, but I can't say Hex 2. Maybe this is Hex 2. No, can't say that.
This is Hextra.
Hextra. This is the Hex. This is the next thing. But yeah, I don't know. Like you said, me and you at least RG3, so we can report back. And I'm not biased. Like I'm more of a not kind of game kind of guy. So.
And me too.
I like if I told people, like, hey, I wouldn't do this, then maybe, like that's my honest opinion, like a non-biased opinion, because I'm
but I think it's on us, the guys that are out there, talking about Hex, to warn people if there are things out there that are scams or that are shady or that are, hey, I don't know about this one here, and to expose the things that people will be putting themselves at risk to by getting involved in these. Because I mean, they're all these people are out there in the chat rooms and they're talking to all the community and they're telling them how great all these things are and all that. So, having some information, having those people come out and talk about it. And, I mean, they have their Telegram rooms, so you can get in their Telegram room and go see for yourself what these people are talking about. It sounds like they've got a good community. Now, all the people that reached out to me from the their community were all, very cool, very, very fired up about what they were doing. They were all talking about the use case of their app versus, just playing games. It's not just a game. There's obviously a use case here for this one. So it'd be interesting to see how it functions, how it works, how it fits in the ecosystem and all that.
Yeah.
So, just doing a service that we're not promoting them. We're just giving everybody equal voice. I've invited Trayvon on the show, if he wants to come on and talk and he gave me a, we'll see.
Number of things, Pirate Hex. I mean, we could even invite.
I invited a number of things too, and he said he would come on. He wanted to talk. So